Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day today. Merciless Vaughn here, back with another Bleach Brave Souls video, and in this one we're going to be talking about whether you should summon or skip on the mid-month banner, the Karakura Battle Queen and Lone Wolf Crown Summons banner. Hopefully you enjoy. If you do, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, you have been here for a while, please consider subscribing. Also help me get to 500 subscribers, I'm very close. Now with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. So if you want the short answer, yes, skip it. It's not really all worth summoning on this banner. But for the long explanation as to why you shouldn't really summon on this banner, is mostly because the units here aren't really all too crazy. I mean, these mid-month banner units aren't really all that much. I mean, I know the past few months, almost, maybe even, I could argue maybe a year, the mid-month banners have been really good because with the anime airing, and then we gotten a lot of Thousand Year Blood War mid-month banner units and some end-of-month banner units. But the Highly Bell here, as you can see, she is a mind human killer. She's basically a guild quest unit, so if you're someone that takes guild quest very seriously, this is a unit that you would probably want for, let's see, if we go back up here, she is a ranged nat unit, so if you need a ranged nat unit for the human weekend guild quest, she'd be pretty useful. But even then, only having Flurry plus 2 in guild quests when there's units with Flurry plus 3 is just kind of eh. But you know, it's Flurry plus 2 is still pretty good, and she will be immune to the status summon, and she does have a star barrier too. But it doesn't look like she has a, yeah, she doesn't have like a booster or enhancer skill, so there's that. Now up next here we do have Stark. Stark, I will say, does have a good amount of value. He's a Heart Soul Reaper killer unit. Soul Reaper killer units are obviously very great. The Soul Trader special move damage plus 40%, and he also does have Devastation 70%. Yeah, the base is 70 in his skills, and then it's going to be 40 with his Soul Trait. So I'm guessing it might be additive to the Devastation in his kit. So I'm not sure, we're just gonna have to probably wait and see. It'll probably show when he's in game. But he does have some value because he has the status summon spiritual pressure boost, increased status summon chance against mind attribute enemies. Didn't hit enemies chance, that's great because Soul Reapers do hide up on their ground. Frenzy plus 2. His Berserker is kind of on the lower side at 40%. Oh, can't forget about the weakened defense either, that's great. He does have the strong attack recharge time minus 12%, and most importantly, he is a farming unit, as you can see here. Regular potions are at plus 5, but super pots are at 10. So if you're someone that, you know, needs super pots and like that, he will be a great farming unit to use. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's only a 2 character banner really. Let's go over the banner very quickly before we talk about the characters. The banner is a 26 step up banner. At steps, let's see, 3, 13, 6, 16, you are guaranteed 1 5-star character. It's not going to be a featured character, it just says guaranteed character. At steps 10, 20, are guaranteed 1 new 5-star character, and obviously once you get to step 25, you do get to choose a new character's ticket. And these units don't have single summon banners either, so if you just want one of these units in particular, unfortunately you're going to have to summon on this banner. Yeah, as I mentioned, there's only 2 new units, and the banner units here aren't really all too good. It's just some old premium units, except for this Yorichi here, Momo. She's a seasonal. These 2 are seasonal units, so these really aren't in the premium pool. As for everybody else here, yes, they are in the premium pool. Yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at the featured units themselves, really. So up first we do have this Joshiro here. He's a power unit with the Hollow Killer. Soul Trade is coin drop plus 30%. Melee unit, or excuse me, he is a ranged unit with lacerate on all his attacks except his SA2. His SA2 has a barrier on it. Innate skills, Sprinter, Stamina Recovery, Havoc. The rest of his skills, Berserker is at 60%, reduce strong attack cooldown 12%, increase coin drop 100%. Crystal and Jewel drop 50%, Frenzy plus 2, Defibrillator 2 seconds. Increased power, character, strong attack damage 20%, damage to lacerated enemies 60%, multi-barrier plus 2, guard break plus hidden enemies. Just not too crazy of a unit. I guess if you need coins for whatever reason, this is a character that you can use. So we have this Retsu here, who is a Heart Quincy killer unit. Soul Trader's normal attack damage plus 30%. She's a ranged unit with no status elements on any of her abilities. Her SA2 does have a heal on it, which is pretty good. Innate skill, Sprinter, she's immune to the weakened status element and guard break. Her bruiser is at 80%, very high. Increased soul reaper damage, normal attack. Increased soul reaper normal attack damage 20%. She gets flurry +1, +2 in guild quest. Decreased damage taken 50%. Long reach 20%. Increased range damage 10%. 30 in guild quest. Poise, healer, medic. Increased killer effect 30%. 50 in guild quest. So this is a unit that you can use for ranged, Quincy week in guild quest. But she doesn't have a boost on her SA2 or anything like that, but the heal could be helpful if you just so happen to get hit. Next is this Genyur Asai. He is a speed unit with the human killer. Soul trait, normal attack, damage inflicted at full stand 40%. Melee unit with burn on all of his attacks except his nat string. He has the enemies defeated bonuses. You can see with the required number of enemies defeated, he just gets a lot of normal attack damage. 10, 10, 10, and 20% at 40 enemies defeated. Innate skill, Sprinter, long reach, guard break. His bruiser is at 40%. That's going to be a lot higher once you get the number of enemies defeated. Berserker is at 30%. Increased damage taken 16%. He's immune to the paralysis status element. Decreased damage taken from humans 20%. Flurry +1, +2 in guild quest. Increased melee damage 10%, 30 in guild quest. Poise, start barrier 10. Increased killer effect 30% and 50% in guild quest. So just another guild quest unit that you can use for the melee human week. Up next we have this Momo here, who is a Heart Sternritter killer unit. Soul trait, damage inflicted at full stand +30%. Melee unit, no status element. She has a barrier and a heal on her SA2. Innate skills, Sprinter, medic, read all affiliation dodges. The rest of her skills, devastation 40%. Reduce strong attack cooldown 12%. Full stamina damage boost 30%. Increased mind, slot potions 10. Increased mind, droplet drop 30%. Frenzy is only a +1, that's not really good. Increased heart attribute, character strong attack damage 20%. Increased damage to enemies not affected by the ailment 100%. Multi-barrier +2 and guard break. So this is just a unit that you could take into epic rage just to farm some pots and some droplets if needed. But having only a frenzy +1 nowadays is just not too good in my opinion. This Tsukishima is a Power Squad 0 killer unit. His soul trait is normal attack damage 30%. Melee unit with drain on all of his attacks except his SA2. It has a debuff on here. Innate skills, Sprinter, Poise. He's immune to the poison status elements. And normal attack damage or bruiser 70%. Diminisher, flurry +1, defibrillator +2 seconds. Increased melee damage 10%, 30 in guild quest. Increased power attribute character normal attack damage 20%. Guard break, increased killer effect 30%, 50 in guild quest. So here's another guild quest unit that you can use for the melee squad 0 week, but he only has a flurry +1 and that's not really too good in my opinion. And this debuff mechanic, I mean, I really don't see a use for it really all too much. I mean, it might be good in some situations, but there hasn't been a situation to where I thought it was pretty good. This Abirama here is a Mind Captain Killer unit, soul trait normal attack damage +30%. Melee unit, no status elements. Innate skills, Sprinter, he's immune to the weaken and paralysis status elements. Bruiser is at 70%, Flurry is only at +1. He has the increased melee damage skills here and is going to be higher in guild quest. Increased damage to enemies not affected by element 100%. Poise, start barrier +10, guard break. Increased killer effect skills and is going to be higher in guild quest. So this is just a melee unit that you can use for the Captain week of guild quest, but you know, flurry +1 is just not good nowadays. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be better units for that. Alright, up next we have this Ichigo here, who's just a renewed version of the Quincy one that we already have. He's a technique unit with 2 killers, Hollow and Human. Any unit with 2 killers is great. That's just more content they'll work in, and you know, Hollow and Human killers, those aren't too bad of a killers. Soul trait, strong attack, recharge time -12%. He's a ranged unit with weakening and drain on all of his attacks. Some great status element combinations right there. Innate skills, Sprinter +2, Havoc 20%, full stamina damage boost 20%. Team/party, technique, attribute, strong attack, recharge 20%. Bruiser 20%, Berserker 40%, Devastation 40%. Frenzy +2, Defibrillator +5, increased status summon chance against speed attribute enemies, increased technique attribute character strong side damage 20%, sharpshooter status summon spiritual pressure boost 80%. So in my opinion, this Ichigo is still very, very good, even though he is a couple years old now. With some dupes, obviously, he'll be better. I think you will need some dupes here, because him only at 1 out of 5 probably won't work too well nowadays. This Berserker and Devastation are pretty low, and for some reason they gave him a Bruiser, and that's only at 20%, but really don't need that since he's an SP unit. But yeah, with some dupes, this Ichigo will still work pretty well, so there is a really another decent character on this banner. So we have this Lilionette, who is a speed Quincy killer unit with the Soul Trader strong side recharge time -12%. He's a melee unit with lacerate on all of his attacks. His innate skills: Sprinter, Lacerator, Guard Break, Bruiser 20%, Berserker 40%, Devastation 40%. Team/party increased technique attribute or ranker strong attack damage 20%, Frenzy +1, Defibrillator +2. Damage to lacerated enemies 60%, poise, and pierce barrier. Yeah, just another not too crazy mid-month banner unit, really. So this Yorichi here, she is a seasonal unit. You won't be able to pull her from the premium pools. Yeah, so she's a power unit with the Quincy Killer Soul Trait. Technique droplet drop plus 30%. Range unit, paralysis on all her attacks except her SA2. Her SA2 has a boost and a heal on it. Innate skills: Guard Break, Sprinter, Medic. The rest of her skills, Berserker and Devastation, are both at 40%. Reduce strong attack cooldown 12%. Increased technique link slot potions +5. Frenzy +1. Defibrillator +5. Enhancer, Booster. Overall, she'll be a pretty good farming unit just with the Medic skills. She has Medic, Booster, Enhancer. That would just make her SA2 even stronger. So this is a unit you will probably want to use in Epic Rage, so she will do well there, though her Berserker, Devastation, and Frenzy are all low. Other than that, yeah, still a decent farming unit. Alright, so next we have this Olokira here, who is a speed unit with 2 killers, Hollow and Espada. Soul Trade strong attack recharge time -12%. Range unit with weakening and burn on all of his attacks. Innate skills: Sprinter +2, Long Strike, Sharpshooter. The rest of his skills: Berserker, Devastation, both at 40%. Complete status immunity. A ranker resonance. Basically, the more rankers you have in this party, the more damage your strong attacks will do. This maxes out at 60%. Havoc 20%, Frenzy +1, Bombardment +1, Defibrillator +5 seconds. Increased speed attribute or ranker damage to status summon affected enemies 40%, and the status summon spiritual pressure boost. So this old Kira, in my opinion, is in the same boat as the Technique Ichigo that we saw earlier in this banner. He's still pretty decent, just you'll need some dupes with him because his Berserker Devastation is low, and his Frenzy is also only at +1. So with dupes, this unit will be very valuable. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. We went over the new units a bit more in detail, and we went over the featured units that are going to be in this banner. Now, like I mentioned earlier, yeah, this banner is a skip. Now, I will say this, if any of these characters are your favorite from the Bleach series and you would like to have them in the game and just play as them, by all means, go ahead and summon. They're your orbs, you do whatever you want with them. If you're a collector and you would just like have all the units in the game, by all means, go ahead and summon. If something on this banner makes you happy, I mean, by all means, do what makes you happy. And it is a video game. Video games are meant to be played to have fun. But if you really don't care about any of that, yeah, just pretty much skip it. Start saving up for the 10th anniversary. That's what I'm doing, really. But yeah, overall this banner has, I would say, 4 decent units in here, 3 of them requiring dupes, and in my opinion those 4 are going to be Stark, this Ichigo, this Yorichi, and this Olokira, and those last 3 needing dupes since they're pretty old. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. And as usual, until next time.